Hello, what's up everybody out there? What's up Real Sports Talk Network? What's good on the internet? What's good in life? I'm Akeem Balaam, aka Li495. Another edition of our Saturday recap show, 10 minutes on the clock. And so let's just get right to it and everything that's going on that happened this week. Of course, as I have been starting out on previous editions of our show, of course, I want to start out with the NBA playoffs, and in this case, the NBA's conference finals. And I want to start with the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat in the way that series has been going. You know, most have been picking the Miami Heat to be the odds-on favorite to win that series, and I can understand why they would be the favorite, because Boston did not shoot well even in that Game 7 against Philadelphia. It looked like that 76ers even had the Celtics beat. They're old. They win 7 games. Miami, on the other hand, only went 6 against Indiana, so they're well rested. They had the home court advantage, so everything you would think would favor the Miami Heat, and so far they are up indeed 2-1. But Game 3 just occurred last night in Boston as the series has indeed shifted, and the Celtics won that game by a final score of 101-91. They got huge contributions from Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo, as well as Paul Pierce. What has happened with Ray Allen for the majority of these playoffs? I mean, what's going on? I mean, it's like the rims have been strategically set up to the point where instead of his shots going in the bucket, they're actually rimming out. So the Celtics won that game. They won Game 3. But I observed a few things, at least from watching this series. The first thing that I observed is, for the better part of 2 of the 3 games, the Celtics have actually outplayed the Miami Heat. They led for most of that Game 2 that was in Miami, and of course they won Game 3, which really it was 101-91, but the margin of victory that the Celtics had over the Miami Heat could well have been much bigger if they didn't start playing complacent and thinking that they had the game in the bag. They underestimated LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, and also a few three-pointers from Mike Miller. But anyway, they underestimated the Miami Heat. They had a 24-point lead going into that fourth quarter, and they just thought that they had the game in the bag. If they were still playing with their foot on the gas for half of that fourth quarter, the margin of victory could very well have been somewhere in the high 20s, maybe even in the low 30s. So that's what happened in that game. The Celtics, for the most part, have actually outplayed the Miami Heat. Now, of course, we can say coulda, shoulda, woulda all we want. The series is currently in the Heat's favor, 2-1, and really the Celtics still have to win 1 in Miami, which will be a tough task for them, even though they probably should have won that Game 2 at the American Airlines Arena. So that's what's going on with that series. And the second thing that I'm observing from that series also came from that Game 3. You know, they blew a lead in the fourth quarter of that Game 2, which was really back and forth, coming down to the wire, and then with a 24-point lead, and then the Heat went on, I believe, a 14-2 run, and actually cut the lead all the way down to 8, and it had the Celtics fans getting a little bit nervous, starting to bite their nails a little bit. Oh my God, the Heat are coming back! But you know what happened with all that. So what I take from that is that the Celtics have got to learn how to close games better than that, because there is no excuse. I mean, I know they got huge contributions from Garnett. They got a contribution from Rondo. Of course, they've been getting contributions from Rondo this whole series. I mean, he went 44, 10, and 8 in that overtime Game 2. But really, they got to close out games better than they did in Game 3, and I reckon Doc Rivers told them that, because if that happens, 9 times out of 10, the opposing team will come back. It started to look a little bit like what happened in Game 1 with the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Los Angeles Clippers when they came back from a huge deficit to steal Game 1 in Memphis. So that's something. And on to the other series that, of course, is going on in the Western Conference Finals with the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. 2-1 Spurs, and that Game 3 was also a blowout on OKC's home floor, as the Oklahoma City Thunder ended a 20-game winning streak by the San Antonio Spurs that dates all the way back to the regular season. So 20 straight games, that's all out the window. My predictions that I had, or my my images that I was starting to get in my head of it perhaps being reminiscent of the when the New England Patriots won 21 straight games on their way to a Super Bowl. That's all out the window, even though I still think that the San Antonio Spurs, even though the Oklahoma City Thunder were my original pick right now, even though they won that Game 3 in Oklahoma City, I still say right now that the San Antonio Spurs will still indeed win that series because they seem to be going once again on all cylinders. I guess they just didn't have enough nasty in that Game 3 against Oklahoma City, going to Oklahoma to play then. But I think that they will rebound. I think Ginobili's going to have a big game in Game 4. I think they're going to get Game 4, and even if they don't, the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to have to win one in San Antonio anyway, which I still, even as good as the Oklahoma City Thunder has been this series, I still do not see them going to San Antonio, going to the AT&T Center, aka the phone booth, and stealing either a Game 5 or even a Game 7 down deep in the heart of Texas. So that's your NBA playoffs analysis for you. On to some other stories, and this just happened last night as well. Johan Santana. The waiting is over. The waiting is over. I sort of expected the Mets announcers, as they were showing the game on the MLB Network, I sort of expected the Mets announcers on SNY, Keith Hernandez, Howie Rose, and everybody there, I sort of expected them to go New York Rangers mode a la 1994 and say, the waiting is over, Mets fans, as they have waited 50-plus years for a no-hitter to finally be thrown, rather, by somebody for the New York Mets, and it was indeed Johan Santana no-hitting the defending champion St. Louis Cardinals as the Mets won 8-0. Or was it really a no-hitter? But wait, there's more, because of that Adrian Johnson blown call that robbed Carlos Beltran of a double. Was that really indeed a no-hitter? Was it indeed a reverse situation from what we saw a few years back with Jim Joyce and Armando Galarraga when he stole a perfect game away from Armando Galarraga? So in the history books, it is indeed going to go down as a no-hitter for Johan Santana and the first in Mets history. But I reckon St. Louis has two sports radio stations down there, 590 The Fan and ESPN 101.1. And if I'm a St. Louis Cardinal fan down there in Missouri, in the Show Me State, I reckon that there are some, maybe even a lot, calling into the phones down there and saying, hello, ESPN 101? Yeah, this is Tommy from St. Louis. Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. Yeah, did you see that junk with the no-hitter? That wasn't really a no-hitter because Carlos Beltran got robbed out of a double, and the third base umpire was as blind as flip. He needs to go ahead and he needs to start thinking about Pearl Vision or Clear Eyes or Visine or something, because we just got robbed. Sure, it's a no-hitter in the record books, but yeah, we got jobbed. And Bud Selig, instant replay, anybody? So I imagine some St. Louis Cardinal fans are dialing the phones like crazy and are thinking, hey, was that really a no-hitter? But anyway, no-hitter or no-hitter, congrats indeed to Johan Santana, even if it is a no-hitter, which St. Louis fans will indeed put an asterisk on. And the last story that I want to mention before I get the heck on out of here is the fact that Rahm Emanuel, and you're probably thinking this is a political story, but no, Rahm Emanuel, the Chicago mayor, is now lobbying to Roger Goodell, perhaps, for a Super Bowl in Soldier Field in Chicago. Now, the issues with Chicago, of course, Chicago is pretty daggone cold in February, pretty daggone snowy, as well as the seating capacity at Soldier Field, which was the reason why Soldier Field wasn't included in the United States' 2022 World Cup bid, perhaps. But anyway, Rahm Emanuel going ahead and lobbying to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell for a Super Bowl in Chicago, because there will be, of course, the 2014 Super Bowl in the New York City, New Jersey area. And I actually would like to see, contrary to popular belief, I actually would like to see more cold weather Super Bowls, because football is made to be played in the elements. It is the ultimate sport when it comes to being played in the elements, and I am tired of southern cities and dome stadiums always getting preferential treatment. Because, let's face it, if I'm not mistaken, most of the complaints when it comes to Super Bowls being played in the cold are actually coming from one constituency only: media, who actually go and cover the game. Mainstream media, like, say, ESPN, for instance, that have to go and cover the game, they seem to be the only ones complaining about it, for at least from what I've been hearing, but maybe some fans have as well. So that's my edition of, in fact, Real Sports Talk edition of 10 Minutes on the Clock for this June 2nd of 2012 NBA Conference Finals. Chicago's Mayor Rahm Emanuel wants a Super Bowl, and Johan Santana's no-hitter that wasn't a no-hitter, perhaps. So rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Look forward to reading your comments. As always, I'm just one guy talking about nothing. So until next week, Real Sports Talk Network, LI495, 10 Minutes on the Clock. See you on the internet someplace.